morning and welcome along to our Staying Well While Staying Home series, a collaboration between Siel, Bleu Ireland and the Irish Cancer Society. So my name is Shane. I've been guiding you through the workouts the last couple of weeks and really looking forward to this morning's workout. So a couple of things before we start. We always say just if we have a good sturdy chair that we can use, we can perform all of the exercises seated or standing as desired. I have my weights. You can have tins, bottles, anything at all you want to use. And we always suggest just having your bottle of water, nice clear space, and I always have my window open as well, just to let a little bit of air in, really important. So I'm just going to make a little final adjustments with the screen here. Let's just check that out. Okay, so I think that should be okay. One other thing I would always say, just in the event it can happen, it's happened once or twice, if the stream were to drop or glitch for any reason, if it were to pause, we will set up a new link through YouTube, and it can happen occasionally. So if anything like that does happen, we will set up a new video stream straight away on YouTube. But touch wood, we'll have no issues anyway. So I'll just allow one more minute just for everyone to tune in, and then we'll get started. I'll have my kind of timer here ready to go. The work we will do, as we have been building the last couple of weeks, aerobic and strength work. So we'll get the body moving, active, working the heart, working the lungs, and then we'll get into more direct strength work. So that's where we will use our weights. Think about strengthening our muscle, bone in our body. So set this timer up now. Okay, and again, just a reminder, this is a collaboration between ourselves, Siel, Bleu Ireland, and the Irish Cancer Society to bring you these home workouts, our Staying Well While Staying Home series. Okay, so I think we're okay to begin. We're just tipping into 10 o'clock now. So we will get started now. So let's begin. Just loosening everything out, warming up, bringing our heart rate up slowly. So I'm going to start off very simple, just to lift the shoulders up and down. Just generally an area that I will start, just simply bringing the shoulders up and down. Just an area that's often tight, a little bit stiff. For some of the movements today, we will be working our shoulders. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to start loosening them out a little bit here. From there, I'm going to progress into rolling my shoulders back. So just slowly rolling the shoulders back. And then if we move into rolling our shoulders forward, so slowly forward in circles. Okay, I'm just going to move towards my chest next. Bringing arms across chest. Open out nice and wide. So just lightly across my chest. Pull back out nice and wide. So opening up, stretching out, opening out my chest in this position. As I bring those arms back, I might feel a nice connection or a nice squeeze between my shoulder blades here. Just nice big pull back. Just opening out nice and wide in this position. Next, what I want to do is a little bit of rotation. I'm just going to bring my hands together, thinking about keeping my hips faced directly in front. So I'll just lightly turn to the right and over to the left. Nice stretch back and a nice rotation through my upper body. Just nice controlled rotation side to side. Again, if you prefer to perform any of these movements from seated, that's no problem at all. Just to adapt and perform the same actions as close as possible in that seated position. Next, I want to bring my arms out. I always say, imagine grabbing, physically clenching or grabbing with my hands, and then pull back low into my tummy. I'm just pulling back nice and low into my stomach or tummy level, as opposed to my chest. We have a rowing exercise with our weight today. So we'll just get a feel for that action, pulling back low into your tummy, switching on, connecting with the back of my body, tucking the elbows in, maybe a light little squeeze of our shoulder blades here as well, just pulling back. Now, just bringing those hands onto my shoulders, and I'll just start lifting one elbow up at a time. Just again, opening out a little bit of tightness, stiffness around the chest, shoulders, typically areas I've come across when we had physical classes. Progressing, lifting my two elbows up together now. So just opening out, lifting my two elbows together. Pausing with my two elbows elevated in front. I will gently open the right elbow and open my left elbow. So just one at a time, opening from front to side. Just opening up all these potential areas that are a little bit tight, a little bit stiff, before we start to load any areas with weight and get a little bit more progressively challenging with our movement. Now, building up, opening my two elbows together. And I'll just think of those elbows going from front to side, opening out. And back down. Okay, what I want to do next is just take it into a march on the spot, just physically getting that body moving. Within your warm-up, the warm-up should never be too difficult, but as I said, we do feel that heart rate is coming up. I'm starting to loosen out, and I'm just feeling more prepared and ready for more challenging exercises. Think of all the work we do with weights, squats, all these different movements over the last couple of weeks, or months rather at this stage. So what I want to do is lightly step forward and just raise my right arm. So I'm just lightly raising the arm in front as I step forward. So I'm just keeping the body moving, lightly stepping in front. And I'm just raising that arm, connecting with my shoulder here as well. And if I return back to a march, I'm just going to take a couple of side steps next. So I will step to the right, and then I will step to the left. So I'm just going to move that chair a little bit out of my way. How this looks, step to the right, back to the middle, and then out to the left, back to the middle. So just return to the center every time, and just lightly put a little bit of weight in each direction. Very small, very subtle movements, nothing too dramatic here. Just a nice light tilt side to side. Okay, and what I want to do next is maybe holding onto your chair. I want to slow the pace right down and get a little bit of elevation now, bringing that knee right up, just connecting, opening up our hips. Quite a lot of work in the hips in a lot of our sessions, and particularly today. So I just want to take a little bit of time, get a nice big lift of the knee, just open out, switch on, connecting with my hips here. And then from that position, I want to lightly, again, chair if I want, just want to lightly bring heel back towards bum. So just lightly behind. Okay. And then just finishing out our warm-up, I'm just going to start off lightly tapping my heels out in front. So my toes raise up as I tap the heels out. And returning back in, I'm holding my chair, and now I just want to lightly tap the toes behind. Now you can face camera as you wear, but I just want to show you this one, lightly tapping toes behind, just stretching back a little bit from that hip. My leg comes back, and I lightly tap the toes behind. Okay, and then just finish out marching. Just check our timer here. So that has frozen, but luckily I always have a backup, so I will just use my phone as a timer. Okay, so I'm going to set up our clock. We can pause our movement. We're going to perform 3 movements for about 50 seconds per movement. We'll have a couple of seconds in between each movement just to set up into the next action. You can perform these movements standing or seated. As I always say with this aerobic work, the main thing is we stay active, we stay moving, giving ourselves a little bit of a challenge. So equate it to if you were on a brisk walk, imagine if you were on a treadmill, an exercise bike, or just a regular bike, you're working with a little bit of intensity. It's not really easy that you're kind of ambling through, but it's not so hard that it'll be painful or uncomfortable either. But you are feeling a little bit of challenge, a little bit of exertion. I will lead the movements in standing, and again, just to mimic from a seated position if you prefer to do it that way. So I'm going to put our clock on. Let me turn this down a little bit. So what I want to do to begin our first movement, I want to start with my arms directly out in front. I want to press down and lift my right knee. And I want to continue like that. I'll start slow. I'll start cautiously. Just get a feel for the motion. And then we continue. If this feels uncomfortable, I hold on to a chair and I will just perform with the one arm and leg through my right side. If I prefer, I can perform this action in seated. Again, this movement is the same. Lift your knee, press the arms down. So continue. Make sure you feel strong. Make sure you feel balanced. Just get a sense, get a feel for the movements on this first round. And return. So, same action we will perform from the left now. A couple of seconds in between just to catch your breath. Same action. So I can move the chair here if I like now. Arms out. Press down. Lift the left knee. Same as last time. We'll start slow. Just start cautious, particularly this first round of movements. Just see how the movement feels. Do I feel strong and balanced as I perform the movement? If not, I might hold on to my chair here and just perform through the left side of my body. If in seated, we can try the same action, arms down, lift the knee up. A nice, active, challenging movement. Again, maybe we're just kind of getting a feel for it in this round, but once we feel strong and balanced, we can go to nice, moderate intensity here, giving our body a good challenge. Okay, next movement are half jacks, or like a variation of a jumping jack. We break this right down. What I will do is I will step to the right and press my right arm. I'm going to keep the two hands up. Step to the left, press the left arm over. Okay, so just step to the side, just reach the arm lightly overhead, pressing across. If I am not comfortable with this motion, what I want to do is just lightly press across, and we can do that in a seated position as well. Okay, so if you do not like the overhead, you can just simply press across the body instead. Lightly step to the side, lightly press overhead. If in seated position, you're just going to lightly tap your foot out, lightly press overhead or across that body. And once more, and return, reset. So again, they are your 3 movements, repeating them 2 more rounds. So let's go, if that feels comfortable, at a nice intensity now. So my arms out, press down, lift the right knee. So press the arms down, lift the right knee. I now have a feel for the 3 movements. I know if I feel strong and balanced, or if I need to hold on to that chair. And if I'm seated, whichever version you choose, we're now working at a nice moderate intensity, giving ourselves a challenge. Not so hard that it's uncomfortable. We're not pumping sweat. We're not completely breathless, but we are feeling a challenge. We can feel our body active and working here. At any point, if I need a rest, I just slow down and I take a seat, catch my breath, return when feeling ready to do so. Okay, swap sides again. chairs here should I need it on this side, but I've kind of assessed the movements. I feel good. Arms out, press down, left knee up. And again, it's really tailored to you. You can go with a nice kind of drive of that knee and press down to the arms, like I'm doing, a nice moderate intensity. You can slow this down if you need. But again, just finding that nice zone where you feel your body working. You know you're active at this point. You know you're working, but not, as I say, in any way uncomfortable, not in any kind of pain. So I might hear a little pant as I talk. It's a sign that I'm working hard. But as I say, I'm not pumping sweat. I'm not completely breathless. It's a good indication for me I'm working hard. So, final movement again, and then one more round. Our jacks, our half jacks here. So hands up on my side, step to the right and press, and then over to the left. Again, if I do not like this overhead version, as I demonstrate now, we'll just press lightly across the body instead. So you can adapt, change this one as required. Breathing all the time, never holding that breath during these movements. Again, in that seated position, just tap the leg out, lightly press overhead or across that body in the same way. Last couple of seconds. And return. 1/3 and final round. Catch your breath. Take a sip of water if needed. Once everything feels okay, we go straight in again. Take a longer break if needed, however. So, 2 arms out, press down. So that combination, a little bit of coordination. I must feel strong and balanced as I perform it. And if I don't, I hold on to my chair, just working through the right side of my body. Right knee up, 2 arms pressed down. Same action if in the seated position. And again, that adaptation if we need that little bit of support from the chair. Again, I have a really good feel on this 3rd and final round, so I can know I can go at a nice moderate pace, giving myself that nice challenge, but I feel strong and in control in this position. And once more, and down. Back to the opposite side. And that chair is just there if I needed it. Arms out, and I begin. Press down, left knee. Again, everyone is different. This might be really difficult. Maybe it's quite easy. But again, if you're finding it really tough, slow it down. You do not need to go at the same speed as what you see on the camera. Slow it right down. Go at a pace that's right for you. So there's no pressure. We're all working at our own pace and level of comfort here. We're hopefully feeling a good challenge. And I say a little bit of coordination and also just working to stay nice and strong in this position. Last couple of seconds with this movement. And return. Final 1/3, final movement. And so again, I'm going to bring those hands up roughly at the side of my head. Step to the right and press. Step to the left and light press. Again, go at a pace that's right for you. Some of us will go a little bit faster. Some of us will go a little bit slower. It's whatever feels right to you. And we have that variation if we like. Pressing across the body if we prefer. Okay, just about over 10 seconds to finish out here. And rest. Okay, really excellent work. So What I want to do is take a sip of water at this point, catch your breath, and take a seat on the chair if you need. And what we're going to do next is set up into a little bit of strength work. I'm just going to give you just a little, maybe 30, about a minute's rest here, and then we'll get going. We're taking longer if needed. So what we'll do is I'm going to demonstrate this first movement. Just going to set my timer up here again. So 5 movements, some which are broken down to perform right and left. Want you to just perform movements that feel good to you. I don't want you to feel in any way uncomfortable or in any pain. So do remember, everyone is unique, whether it's shoulder, chest, hip. There may be a certain movement pattern that just isn't good to you. And very simple, if something causes pain, do just change the exercise. So we're not starting on the clock yet, so there's no need, I'd say, just to have maybe a look at this demonstration, which I'll deliver now. So a one-arm row, so working the back of our body. So what I want to do is stand with one weight in my hand, my right hand, and stand away from the chair. I don't want to be close, so take a good foot back here from the chair. My knees will be nice and soft. I will drive my hips back, keeping my upper body straight. I'm holding on with my spare hand. Weight in my right hand. I'll pull the weight into my tummy and lower back down. And you'll notice that I consciously pull low into my stomach. So I think about my knees are soft, my back is straight. If we can achieve that position, we're in a nice strong setup to row. I'll go through that again when we start. If you feel that won't be comfortable, or you prefer to do this in a seated position, what I would suggest is we might sit forward just a little bit in our chair, weight in my right hand, gently tilt forward. So again, we never want to round the spine. We gently tilt forward, rest my hand on my leg, and just pull that weight up. And again, thinking lower towards the tummy rather than high up towards the shoulder. Let's go at a nice kind of low angle, trying to feel our back. So just pulling nice and low. So take that seated position if you don't like the look of my standing stance here. So let's begin, and we'll set up from the top. So again, good. Stand away from that chair, not too tight, not too rigid. Knees nice and soft. Hold on to my chair. My hips push back and my upper body stays straight. So I'm not bending. That's my start position. Soft knees, straight back. Weight in right hand. Pull up to your tummy. Lower back down. I exhale as I pull the weight up. Inhale as I lower. Another point I like to think about here is tucking my elbow into my back pocket. So I'm trying not to pull up high into my chest and shoulder. I think low into my stomach. And again, it's not that we're physically trying to, but imagine trying to tuck your elbow into your back pocket. So that keeps me and keeps the angle that I'm pulling nice and low into my stomach. And that for me gets the best connection with my back. So keep that back straight, keep the knees soft, pulling that weight low into your tummy. Straight up. Really important. We don't neglect or forget about the back of our body. Last rep. Okay. Setting up from the opposite side. Again, if that didn't feel good, we might take up the seated option instead. Again, set up from standing. Again, you can see I keep that little bit of space away from the chair. I soften my knees as I hold on with my spare hand. Just going to push the hips back a little bit, and my back is straight. Weight in left hand. Pull up to my tummy. Lower back down. So low into that stomach as opposed to high up towards the chest or shoulder where it might feel a little bit tight. We're going to aim for that nice low pullback. Again, you can imagine that idea of tucking your elbow into your back pocket. So that, for me, helps get a really nice connection with the back of my body. But what I like about this position is we're supported by the chair in keeping this nice neutral stance that it can help me to keep a nice straight back. It's very important with this movement. We're not bending our spine. We keep a nice straight position. Pulling weight up to tummy. Elbow into back pocket as opposed to flaring out. Get that nice connection in our back. Breathe out as I pull. Inhale as I lower. And one more. And back down. Excellent work. Really good so far. So let's move into our next movement. So I've often talked about, I know some movements might be difficult when it comes to the shoulder, presses, raises. So we sometimes like to work just on holding a position. So what I want to do is hold the weight in my right hand, elbows in front, just in line with my shoulder, roughly in that position. Holding my weight, I lightly tap the chair with my right foot, lightly tap with my left foot. I will hold on to my wall here if I want for a little bit of support. And if I want, I can perform this movement in a seated position, holding the weight in the same way, lifting each knee up nice and high. If this stance is uncomfortable, your shoulder doesn't feel good, I want you to drop it down by your side and imagine holding a suitcase. So just down by your sides, but not physically tight into your hip. Hold it out, separate. But again, I'll continue with my original stance. So I think of areas like my shoulder here are working hard to maintain this position. A little bit of endurance in that shoulder. My grip here as I hold that weight, we might feel our forearm. And I'm keeping a nice strong upper body position. I'm not bending. I'm keeping it nice and strong as I tap my chair. And back down, okay? We're going to try the same action through the opposite, the left side now. Again, if that didn't feel comfortable in any way unbalanced, we might hold the weight down by our side or perform the action in a seated position. Let's set up. Weight, elbow roughly in line with shoulder, but not 100% rigid, just making sure it feels comfortable first and foremost. Lightly tap, lightly tap. Start slow, start cautiously, make sure that you feel strong and balanced as you perform the action. Maybe your chair is a little bit high, not suitable. We might just simply go for a march. Make these changes. Don't be afraid to make changes that make the movement better, work better for you. Again, so there's that little bit of endurance here in that shoulder. My forearm, I might feel strong upper body position, and those hips quite active here as well as I lift and lightly tap the chair. I'm not looking to put any kind of force or weight to the chair, just a very nice light tap. And again, if your chair is a little bit high, just take a step back and we might just go for a nice controlled march on the spot. Seated position, same action. And down. Okay, final movement. I want you to take hold of your 2 dumbbells or weights, tins, bottles, whatever you might be using. Okay, so I'm going to take my 2 weights. Again, we've tried lots of different variations for the arm curl. And what I've always said is just to try and keep it interesting, engaging. We have a nice little combination movement here. So I want the palms of my hands face forward, with my elbows roughly by my sides here. Curl the weights up to shoulders, slowly back down, rotate, and go for that up, down again. So we're just curling up from 2 different hand positions. One, which is my hammer grip here, and then with our regular stance with the palms faced forward. So we're just curling up from 2 slightly different angles. Again, standing seated, the movement is the same, mechanical movement. Just in standing, we're extra conscious. We're keeping a nice, strong upper body position, making sure we're not arching that back. Your arms are doing all the work to bring that weight up. Exhale as I bring the weight up. Inhale as I lower. If you prefer to stick with one pattern of movement, that's absolutely fine. We're just adding in this combination just for a little bit of extra challenge today. And we'll just finish out and rest. Drop the weights down. Let's take a nice rest here. Okay, so that is your first round of movement. What I always say after your first round of exercises, ask yourself how that all felt. Anything there that felt painful, uncomfortable, and we have to make that change. We're not going to persist with something that doesn't feel good. We're going to change an exercise if it doesn't feel good. So that might mean just taking weight out of the movement, or maybe taking up a seated position. If, however, everything felt okay, we're going to go in with a second round of every movement. So again, if it felt a little bit easy, we might start to go a little bit of intensity this time. But if it felt hard, we can slow it down a little bit. So let's go back to exercise number 1. Our rowing movement. So you have your seated or your standing options. I'm going to take the weight in my right hand. Again, I want to stand maybe away from that chair. Just take a good big step back. But again, everyone is it's choice in terms of how far, but a little bit of space between me and the chair. Holding on. Soft knees. My hips push back a little bit, and that brings my upper body nice and straight at this angle. So nice straight back. Pull the weight into tummy. Lower back down. Into tummy. Lower back down. My knees are soft. My back is straight. If we can comfortably get in that position, then we can proceed just to bring that weight up. Low into my tummy and back down. Breathe out as I pull up. Inhale as I lower the weight. Again, I'm thinking about that elbow into my back pocket. So I keep the angle close. I'm not flaring the elbow out wide. I'm keeping it close. And for me, I will draw the best connection. Just get a little bit of feeling in the back here. Big, strong muscle, our lat here. We're just looking to connect with the back of our body as much as we can with this movement. You have your chair here for support, just to keep you strong in your position. And swap. We'll move to the opposite side. Take your time with the setup. There's no hurry ever. We always have a break in between each movement. So take your time. Again, standing away from the back of the chair. My right hand is on. Knees soft. Hips push back a little bit. Drawing my upper body into that tilted position. Nice and straight. Weight in left hand. Pull up to tummy. Lower back down. Again, weight low into that stomach, as opposed to pulling high towards your chest or shoulder. We're going to come nice and low with our angle today. Again, I'm always throwing out that, tucking my elbow into my back pocket. I find people do sometimes find it difficult to connect with the back of the body with a movement like this. So sometimes little points like that, just imagining tucking your elbow into your back pocket, maybe just help us connect with the movements that little bit better. From a mechanical point, my knees stay soft, my back stays straight. Pulling the weight up low into your tummy. Exhale as we bring the weight up. Inhale as we lower the weight. And one more. And rest. A little bit of setup. Just going to put my chair directly out in front of me here. And again, this is a really nice option, as I say, if we maybe struggle with presses or any kind of raise motions for the shoulder. This is another option. Just a static hold of the position, building up a little bit of endurance. Chairs in front. Grasping the weight in my right hand with my elbow roughly in line with the shoulder, but it might be a bit lower if that feels more comfortable to you. I begin. Tap the chair, tap the chair. Again, start comfortable, and we don't want to go too fast that you feel unbalanced. So once you feel strong and balanced with the position, we can build up to a nice moderate intensity. And use that wall if I want, just for a little bit of support. If this feels uncomfortable with the stance, I want you to bring the weight down by your side. It might feel better both for the shoulder and in terms of your balance. Equally, if that chair is maybe a little bit uncomfortable, just go for a march on the spot. And as ever, with your seated position, we simply mimic those same actions from our seated position. Lift the knees, holding your position. Upper body stays nice and strong as I perform the movements. And down. Might feel that shoulder a little bit along the forearm. It's really working and active, but without, as I say, pressing or raising, if maybe that's a pattern that causes a little bit of pain or discomfort. So that might feel a nice, another option in terms of working the shoulder. Left side, again, elbow roughly in front of my shoulder, maybe a little bit lower if that feels more comfortable. That's okay. We begin. Again, just start off cautious on our first couple of reps. Just make sure we feel strong and balanced as we perform the movement. And then we can continue into a nice moderate intensity if that feels okay. Again, if this feels unbalanced or uncomfortable with my shoulder, I will drop the weight down to my side. Keeping my upper body strong, so I'm never kind of tilting back. I'm never bending forward. It just stays nice and strong. And my core is active. My hips are active as I lift those knees up. Shoulder is working. So there's lots of different parts here. Wrist, forearm, all these little parts as well. They're active and helping me in this position. Last couple of reps. Slowing down if needed. And down. Final movement, back to our arm. Turn this off. Okay, so not too much setup here. Standing or seated, movement is the same pattern. So again, elbows roughly by my side. I'm always conscious just not to pin them way back. Just think roughly by my side that it feels comfortable. My palms are forward as I grasp the weight. I curl up in a nice straight line, up, down, twist to my side, and curl up, down. So curling your weights up from two different hand positions. You know, the sun is kind of coming in on me a little bit there. I think we can see that okay. Just curling up from those two different hand positions. Again, sometimes it's just making these small little changes to a movement. Just really nice for a little bit of variety. Just to keep the movements and the workouts challenging and interesting. Again, from the side, just really conscious that I keep my upper body straight, that I'm not arching that back, which can happen if we're starting to find the weights a little bit heavy. So just keep it nice, controlled, up and down. Last couple of repetitions here. We'll perform one more of each. And back down. Okay, so rest those two weights down. Let's take a nice rest here. Catch your breath. Take a sip of water. Okay, so that is 2 rounds. And what I've been saying throughout these workouts, if you find maybe 2 rounds has really, worked you hard, and that's enough, that's fine. But I will lead with 1/3 final round. So if you feel okay with everything, again, maybe just having that quick assessment with yourself. Anything there that felt painful, uncomfortable, we're going to change. Or maybe everything felt okay. We can continue on as is. So we will go in with 1/3 final round of movement, if we're ready to do so. So again, I'm just going to set up with my chair, and I'm going to grab 1 dumbbell here. So again, let's stand away from the back of our chair, holding on with my left hand, soft knees, my hips are back is straight. Holding the weight, pull up to my tummy, lower back down. Up to my tummy, lower back down. Again, from the mechanical setup, what I always think is just I'm keeping those knees soft here. Really important, not tight and rigid. My hips are pushed back, and that keeps me in a nice straight position with my back. I'm not bending at all in this position. Really important. From there, we just pull that weight low up into our tummy, imagining that elbow coming all the way back into your back pocket here. So getting a nice squeeze and connection in my back, particularly on my right side here. Exhale as we pull the weight up. Inhale as we lower the weight. Final couple of reps on our right side. Again, what maybe felt easy, comfortable, maybe by round 3, now starting to get a little bit more difficult. Just checking my clock there. And rest, okay, excellent. Sorry, I missed the timer there, so we went on for a couple of seconds. So I'm just going to slow that down, reset. So we did work for a couple of seconds extra. Okay, so setting up from the opposite side. Again, stand away from your chair. Soft knees, holding on. My hips push back a little bit, and that draws me into a nice straight back position. Holding the weight in my left hand, I'm going to begin the movement in 3, 2, 1. Up into my tummy, lower back down. Again, I'm keeping that angle nice and low. Into that stomach. I try and avoid coming up really high into the chest and shoulder, where it might feel a bit tight and uncomfortable. So low into that stomach. And again, always visualizing, I'm thinking in my brain, elbow towards back pocket. And that for me just gets a really nice squeeze and connection. Just really nice to feel the movement as you pull the weight up, connecting with the back of my body, knowing that I'm strengthening my back with this movement. Keeping the knees soft, keeping the back straight. Exhale as I pull the weight up. Inhale as I lower. Last couple of reps. And rest. Okay, so we'll take it into our shoulder movement. Well, there's too many different parts to name here, but shoulder being one angle we're approaching this from. Again, I want you to place your chair out in front. Set your stance up, whether that's holding the weight directly by your side or in front like I do. As I think, imagine like your waiter holding a tray. So my elbow is in front, roughly in line with shoulder, and I begin. And again, it doesn't matter that this is the third round. I still just approach the first couple of reps with a little bit of caution, making sure I feel strong and balanced. And if I do, then I can continue at a nice moderate intensity with the action. And hold on to that wall if I want it for support. So many different things here. My hips are really active as I lift up. It's that element of balance here, that we're strong in the position. My core, upper body is staying strong. My shoulder, thinking areas like my wrist, my forearm, they're all active, assisting with this position. I think a little bit of endurance through that shoulder in particular as we continue to hold the weight. Again, nice and light as I tap the chair. Might sound like I'm giving it a hammering here, but I'm really not. Just lightly tapping, keeping that body straight. If your chair is a bit high, pull back, march on the spot, and down. Swapping to the next side, but with a couple of seconds, we always use our rest. Even take a drink of water if we need. Again, maybe a little bit of a pant in my breath. Light sweat, a little bit red, indications I'm working hard. I'm not pumping sweat. I'm not completely breathless, so I'm not out of that comfort zone either. So I'm challenged, but not in any kind of pain or in any way uncomfortable. Left side, elbow in front. Begin the movement. Lightly tap, weight in front or down by your side, whichever is more comfortable to you. In your seated position, taking up those same stances with the arm and performing a raise each side. So connecting with your hip as we lift the knees up. Upper body stays strong, continuing to bear that weight. Again, make sure you feel strong and balanced through the position. First exercise right through the last. If at any point you feel very breathless, really tired, need to rest, you just simply rest. Don't say, I'm going to force this just because I'm near the end. If you need to rest, just give yourself, take a seat, return when ready. And down. Okay, final movement, working the arms. So again, a little bit of time, take a drink of water, standing, seated, whatever feels right to you. And definitely the third round a bit tougher. So last exercise today, beginning in a couple of seconds. Again, elbows roughly in by my side here, palms of the hands forward, grasping the waist. Beginning, curl up, lower down, and twist. Curl up, lower down. So again, just continuing an arm curl from two different hand positions. Again, we just approach the arm from a slightly different angle with our different hands set up each time. Again, just think of this one as a nice challenge, a little bit of variety into your arm curl. Sometimes it can be nice just to make these little changes, just to give a little bit of extra challenge to the body, and particularly the arms in this case. If in standing, I want to make sure I'm keeping my body straight, that I'm not in any way arching my back to lift the weight. Making sure my arms are responsible for the work here. Exhale as I raise up. Inhale as I lower. Nearly there. And we'll go once more for each position. And lower the weights down. Okay, so that is our 3 rounds finished on top of our aerobic work. So first of all, simply take a rest, catch your breath, take a drink of water, take a seat if you need. And we'll just turn our clock off here. So our final action will be to move into our cool down. Just as I give you a couple of seconds to rest here, so again, don't want you to do anything, just simply rest. Don't be afraid to let me know. Find the workout easy, hard, want more challenge or more adaptations, just let me know. But hopefully we're getting a good challenge from that work anyway. Again, if you want to play it back at any time, it will be there and available. If you want to break it down in parts, some aerobic work, some strength work, 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. Break it up any way that maybe works for you in terms of performing and going forward. So let's take a couple of stretches. Just begin relaxing our body down. So first of all, I'm just going to bring my hands together. I'm just going to lightly turn my body to the right, holding for a couple of seconds here. And my head is with the movement, my hips staying roughly as they were. Lightly turn over to the left. Again, let's hold for a couple of seconds here. Again, nice and light, turning my body over to the right. It's going to hold for a couple of seconds. And slowly turning over to the left again. Turning over to the right, hold. And over to the left. I'm going to do that twice more in each direction. Just taking a little time at each position. Over to the right, nice stretch in the back. And then once more over to the left again. And last time, just nice and light, over to the right. And over to the left. And back in. Just giving a little bit of space here. Thinking about my chest. What I like about this is you can kind of work from a position. You don't have to go really high. So I'll just start with my arms by my side. And I just lightly pull back, opening out my chest in this position. Arms back, open out that chest. And if I show from the side, you'll see the hands are physically behind my body. And then I just relax down, reset position, pull back. Okay, so let's hold. Perfect. Thanks for the feedback, Mary. Really appreciate that. So that sounds perfect. Yeah, that you're feeling a challenge. So perform this once more. Feeling a challenge, but as I say, not in any way like really uncomfortable. But definitely we do want that you feel like, yes, I've performed a nice workout. I've really given my body a good challenge. And that you've maybe earned a cup of tea or coffee after this. So that's great. Really good. And thanks for the feedback. And down. Okay. Just a nice combination next. Arms out, hands up. Pull back right into my shoulders. Tuck the elbows in. Nice little squeeze. Press forward, stretch out and hold. Again, just pull back. Let's hold position. Press forward and hold. We're just taking our time with each position. Just nice, slow movements. Nothing too intense, nothing too vigorous. Just think about gradually bringing our heart rate down and gradually just signaling to our body to return to a resting state. Pull back. Lightly press. I'll go one more time. Pull back. And lightly press. And back down. Brilliant. Maybe holding onto your chair at this point. Just bring that right knee up, hold for a couple of seconds. And we'll do the same on the opposite. My left knee up, hold for a couple of seconds. So again, just repeating on each side, another couple of lifts. Everything is much slower now compared to when we were warming up and building up. We're just relaxing everything down now, gradually easing off. Okay. Couple of steps to the right, just lightly step to the right, return back in. So just very slow, light movements at this point. Let's take 3 more steps to the right, and then we'll go for the left. Okay, and now performing to my left, just lightly step to left and back in. Just a couple of steps. And again, these might seem like very light, straightforward, and that's what they want to be. Simple, light, straightforward movements. Just relaxing the body down. Already, there's less pant as I talk now. Breathing right back under control. So I know I'm starting to relax fully at this point. Okay, maybe holding on to your chair. Just curl the right leg back, 1, 2. Curl left leg back, 1, 2. So just lightly curl each leg back. Yeah, I'm just going to hold on to my chair at this point. Just again, taking some of that challenge, taking some of the strain off my upper body. Just want to show you a stretch next for your thigh, front of the leg. By all means, if you don't like any element of this movement, it's absolutely fine. We will finish in a seated position. So if you don't like this stretch, it's absolutely fine. We will have a seated choice. I'm going to curl my right foot behind. If comfortable, I grab my foot, lightly pull back. So as I pull my leg back here, I get a nice stretch through my thigh, and I just hold the position. If this doesn't feel comfortable, just continue without the physical hold of the foot, and that's okay. Same for the left side. Curl your foot back. If it feels comfortable, grab the foot. If it doesn't, not to hold. Lightly pull the leg back. Hold your stretch. And back down. We'll go once more. Right leg back, grabbing my foot. Lightly pull back, or maybe just again lightly pulling the leg back without the hold. Back down. Left leg, curl back, lightly hold, and just nice and light pull back as well, stretching out my thigh, the front of my leg. And back down. Just to finish in seated, as I said we would, so just if that wasn't a movement we liked, we're just going to finish with our ankles in a seated position. I know the sun is kind of glaring a little bit there, sorry about that. Feet up, point your toes forward away from your body, hold your position, and the opposite motion. Now pull the toes back in towards yourself. Again, point your toes forward away from yourself. Pull the toes back in towards yourself. Again, toes forward, hold for a couple of seconds. Toes pull back, hold for a couple of seconds. And relax down. So, final action I want to do today is a little bit of breathing. I'll just simply rest the hands down on my legs. Take a nice big deep breath in through the nose. And doubling my time on the exhale. Inhale. Slow, nice slow exhale. Again. And just twice to finish. Last time. Okay, so that is our workout finished for today. I will be off next week, so I think we'll have one of my colleagues filling in, but we will post the details up to our social media channels again. So I'll talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the workout. Any issues, questions, don't be afraid to get in touch or just let me know in the comments. But great work. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll talk to you again. And that was a collaboration between Siel, Bleu Ireland and the Irish Cancer Society. So thanks very much for tuning in.